Hi, dear friends. I received a letter from one of our subscribers. She shared her story about a toxic relationship, but not with a partner, with a friend. Yes, it happens. Toxic relationships are not just between lovers, they can happen between neighbors, coworkers, even siblings or parents and children. Here's what she wrote. I met my best friend at the playground. Our kids were playing and we started talking. Soon we became inseparable. We could talk for hours, in person, over the phone, texting. We had so much in common, and those were some of the happiest days of my life. We went on trips, celebrated birthdays, even vacations together. But she always complained about her husband, said he was a monster, controlling, cheap, emotionally abusive. He worked abroad, came home for just a month every 6, and then left again. I didn't know him personally. From the outside he looked normal, but she told everyone he was cruel, and everyone believed her. She really was a lovely woman. Her home was spotless. Her husband had renovated it beautifully. Me? Not so much. Cleaning was never my thing. I focused on living. I was happy. I took my kids on walks, traveled, studied. If I didn't have time to clean, I didn't panic. I'd rather rest with my child and clean later, because he needed me more. My husband understood that too. Our son had special needs. He cried constantly, didn't sleep at night. Clean floors weren't our priority. I was studying at the time, doing small jobs when I could. But she didn't work. She was home full time, living off her husband and caring for the kids. She'd often come over to my place and start cleaning. I told her not to. It made me uncomfortable. Sure, my house wasn't perfect, but it wasn't a mess either. I never asked for help, but she would just do it. One time I was pregnant and she showed up and started mopping my kitchen. Again, I never asked. She always did it like she was being kind, but I felt off. She knew my mom and mother-in-law helped me sometimes, and I helped her too, always. Gave her rides, watched her kids, anything she needed. She was very social, knew everyone in our building. I was the opposite. I kept to myself, had childhood friends and didn't need more. She somehow did it all, gossiped with neighbors, took the kids to activities, made time for parties. Sometimes when we were around others, she would joke at my expense. Even in front of a travel agent once, I laughed it off, but I never joked about her. And when her husband stopped giving her money, again, everyone knew. He's awful, she'd say, and again, I believed her, because how could I not? Around that time, my husband wanted to support me. He renovated a space so I could open a business, but when it was done, he ran out of money. He said, let's rent the place out for a year, save up, you'll open next year. I told her, and she flipped. Don't rent it out, she said. I have nowhere to work. I'll end up at a grocery store register. She pulled every guilt string in my heart. I felt trapped. She had no job, no money, no car. Her husband took it. And I didn't have the strength to say no, so I gave in. I kept the space. I invited her to join the business. And that's when it really began. I ended up taking full responsibility for the business, bought the furniture, equipment, did everything myself. My husband, who had renovated the space, said, if you're using my property, I want a share. So we split the income 3 ways. One part for him, one for me, and one for her. But only I had invested any money. I took a second job. My income still wasn't enough, so I got a loan. Then another. Then another. Before I knew it, I was $10,000 in debt. I was drowning, but I kept going. She, on the other hand, was the director. She sat in the office while I was running around. I picked her up, drove her wherever she needed, picked up her kids, handled errands. I had no time left for my own children. One of them was just a baby. The other was in first grade and needed me. But I wasn't there. She had the perfect setup: a good job, flexible hours, her own personal driver, me, time for her kids, and, most importantly, a way to prove to her husband, "Look, I can live without you." But the truth is, she replaced him with me. I looked exhausted all the time. She looked stunning, always dressed up, full of energy. She was charismatic. People were drawn to her, and she knew exactly what to say to make people like her. She'd complain about her husband so often that I started to wonder, was I becoming her next villain? And still, I kept working, because I felt responsible. I betrayed my children, I betrayed my husband, but most of all, I betrayed myself. Then came joy. I got pregnant again, my third child. After the birth, just 2 weeks passed. I was at home with my newborn. I wanted one simple thing: take the stroller and walk to the park. Breathe. Just exist. But of course, I couldn't. I had built a mountain of responsibilities that I couldn't walk away from. I was still working, still covering debt. One day, my friend said she couldn't come to work. She was sending her child to summer camp by train. She asked me to cover the office. I said yes. I had exactly enough gas to get to the office and back. Midday she calls. "Can you come pick me up at the train station? I forgot my wallet." I said, "I can't. I don't have gas money. Take the subway. Borrow a token from someone." That's when it started again. "But I'm having a crisis. I'm falling apart. You won't believe what happened." Another dramatic story. Another hook. Another trap of guilt. And for the first time, I didn't bite. I said, "No, I can't." And then it hit me. She didn't care about my newborn, about my gas tank, about my debt. She cared that I served her needs, that I showed up, that I obeyed. The next morning we met. She said nothing. Silent, cold, punishing. I tried to explain. I had no gas. I had no money. I had debt. A baby. I was running on fumes. She didn't care. Her silence was louder than any scream. And that's when it hit me. She was training me. Not helping. Not caring. Training. I was her obedient, broken thing. I wasn't a friend. I was a doormat. I finally spoke up. I told her everything. "You only have this job because I built this business. I paid for everything. I carried it all on my back." I thought she'd be relieved, that we'd clear the air. Instead, she got offended. Deeply, theatrically, tragically offended. Because the doormat spoke. Even after that, I still tried to make peace. I texted. I reached out. But she stayed silent. Her favorite weapon. She walked around with this look of eternal suffering. Watery eyes, trembling lips, permanent sadness. And that quietness was torture. I gave up. We only spoke about work. Nothing personal. No more picking up her kids. She quickly found a new driver, our neighbor. She always found a new one. Always. But then she stopped doing her job. I'd ask her for documents. She didn't have time. Weeks would go by. I'd beg her to finish a simple report. And then One day, I snapped, "Just do the damn report already." And suddenly, she smiled, because others were around. And in that moment, she looked like the calm, sweet, composed woman. And I looked like the crazy, unhinged monster. I didn't even realize it yet. But she was manipulating me. Every silence, every "I'm too busy," every tearful glance. It was all part of the game. One day I took my child to the playground. A woman approached me, one of B's acquaintances. We weren't close. She asked how I was. I smiled. "I'm doing fine. B and I work together. Everything's great." And then she told me the truth. She said, "She talks about you all the time. Terrible things. Honestly, I'm sick of hearing it." My heart stopped. I couldn't breathe. My hands trembled. My mouth went dry. I thought we were just having a silent moment in our friendship, but she was tearing me apart behind my back. And if this woman knew, then everyone knew. I ran to the office. I started talking to everyone. I shared my side of the story, desperate to be heard. Some believed me, some didn't. But one thing was clear: she had prepared her version in advance. She had smeared me, just like she smeared her husband, her daughter-in-law, even her son. And that's when I understood. She doesn't stop. She plays victim, but she's the one holding the knife. I decided to cut her out completely, but she had no plans to go quietly. She kept talking to the staff. She built alliances. One day, several of my employees just didn't show up. She had opened a competing office, took clients, took people. Even the clients knew about our fight. She wanted it public. She wanted me humiliated. But without me, without a mule to carry the load, her business collapsed. Some employees came back. They said, "We can't believe we believed her. We were hypnotized." And finally, I understood. So was I. After she left, I was alone. The business, all mine now. I rented part of the space, hired a real director, and slowly, painfully, I paid off the debt. Every last dollar. The truth? This business never made a profit, not for me. Because when you build something out of loans and put a grown adult on your back, all you build is a prison. Even now, I look back and shiver at how good she was at manipulation, at how she made everyone feel sorry for her, how she always found a new helper, a new driver, a new rescuer. When her husband cut her off, she jumped onto my shoulders. When I left, she found the next one. And you know what? I should have seen it. I should have listened when she talked badly about everyone, her husband, her daughter-in-law, even her own child. Because when someone badmouths the people closest to them to win your sympathy, sooner or later, they'll badmouth you, and you'll become their next villain. I'm lucky. It was a friend, not my husband, not my family. Because a betrayal from someone close, that's the kind of wound you never fully heal. Still, it hurt, but I got out. And now, I know better. Thank you for this channel, for your voice. People need this truth. To hear it, to see it, to recognize it. And finally, to walk away. What manipulation techniques did she use? Technique, quote from the manipulator, Hidden Goal. 1. Love bombing. She overwhelmed her with attention, kindness, shared moments. We talked for hours. We went on trips, birthdays, vacations, together. Goal, build trust quickly, break boundaries, create emotional dependency. 2. Victim mentality. She was always the victim, abused by her husband, broke, helpless. "He's a monster. He doesn't give me money. He left me again. If you rent the space, I'll have nowhere to work. Can't you see how hard my life is?" Goal, trigger guilt, avoid responsibility, get rescued. 3. The debt trap. She gave help no one asked for, then demanded gratitude. I cleaned your floors, I helped you, you owe me. Goal, create emotional debt, manipulate through guilt. 4. Learned helplessness. She played the role of someone incapable of coping alone. Where would I work? A grocery store? I forgot my wallet. Come pick me up. Goal, shift all responsibility to the victim while remaining passive. 5. Silent treatment. Whenever she didn't get what she wanted, she punished with silence. She wouldn't talk to me, she just stared, like I'd betrayed her. Goal, use emotional withdrawal as punishment and control. 6. Gaslighting. She provoked reactions, then made the victim feel like the crazy one. She was calm, polite. I was screaming, I looked unstable. Goal, undermine her confidence, make others doubt her sanity. 7. Smear campaign. Behind the scenes, she destroyed her reputation, playing the sweet victim. Everyone already knew the truth about me from her. Goal, isolate, discredit, and turn others against the victim. 8. Triangulation. She always had a new savior. Neighbors, co-workers, clients. She got a new driver, took my staff. Even the clients knew about our fight. Goal, build outside alliances, keep the victim off balance and alone. What does the victim feel? Deep emotional state to create empathy and emotional resonance with the audience. Confusion. She didn't understand what was happening. She thought she had a best friend. But slowly, her energy, time, and peace started disappearing. I didn't ask for help, but she kept helping, and then used it against me. She couldn't tell if this was love or control. She blamed herself for feeling exhausted. Guilt. She felt guilty for saying no, for being tired, for even having needs of her own. She said she helped me, so I owed her. I believed it. This guilt kept her silent. It kept her loyal, long after the friendship turned toxic. Trapped. She wanted to walk away, but there were children, money, the business, the debt. And her friend had slowly taken over her time, her relationships, her life. I couldn't say no anymore. She had trained me. Anger turned inward. She didn't just get mad at the manipulator. She got mad at herself for betraying her kids, her husband, and her own values. I betrayed my children. I betrayed my husband. But most of all, I betrayed myself. Isolation. She couldn't talk to anyone because her friend had already poisoned her image. Even clients knew. Even coworkers believed her. There was no one left to trust. She felt invisible, powerless, alone. Heartbreak. She grieved. Not just the friendship, but who she became inside of it. She lost her peace, her softness, her joy. All I wanted was to walk with my baby in the park, but I couldn't because of what I'd built on my own back. Why it works. Psychological mechanics. Breaking down the internal vulnerabilities that allow this manipulation to succeed. It starts with familiarity and trust. She enters through kindness. She listens, helps, connects. You drop your guard, because nothing feels dangerous. The brain craves connection and safety, and she offers both at first. Guilt bypasses logic. You know something feels wrong, but you also feel bad for her. So instead of saying, "Stop," you say, "Yes." Guilt triggers the brain's reward center. You feel good for helping, even when it's harmful to you. The drain is gradual. It doesn't start with abuse. It starts with one small ask, then another. Then, she's in your house, your car, your business, your life. Gradual boundary erosion creates a new normal, and the victim adjusts without noticing. Your identity gets hijacked. You stop being you. You become her helper, her solution, her shield. Your wants, needs, rest, they all come last. The manipulator rewrites your role from equal to servant, and your self-concept bends to match. Shame and silence keep you stuck. You feel ashamed for letting it go this far. You stop telling others. And now, you're alone, overwhelmed, and still giving. Shame silences, and silence empowers the manipulator. You're afraid of the fallout. What happens if you confront her? You'll look mean. She'll cry. Everyone will think you're the problem. Fear of being the bad guy traps the victim in people-pleasing and submission. What should have been done? Healthy response. What the victim could have done, and what you can still do. 1. Recognize unasked help as a red flag. If someone gives you help you didn't ask for, and then holds it over your head, that's not generosity, that's a setup. You don't owe anyone for kindness you didn't request. 2. Set boundaries early and reinforce them. When you say no and they get offended, that's not a reason to back down. That's a sign you found where the manipulation lives. Boundaries are not cruelty, they are protection. 3. Speak before the silence destroys you. When you feel something is wrong, don't bottle it up. Speak. Ask questions. Set limits. Silence is the manipulator's weapon. Your truth is yours. Don't let anyone rewrite your story before you've told it. 4. Pay attention to reputation sabotage. If they talk badly about everyone, sooner or later, they'll talk badly about you. The way they speak about others is a preview of how they'll treat you. 5. Choose your peace over their approval. You don't need their friendship. You don't need to save them. You need yourself. You are not a rehabilitation center for broken adults. You are a human being, and you deserve rest, respect, and reciprocity.